A bit about what we're doing at Aqua Medical. So our target is type 2 diabetes. And I picked this infographic off the ADA website because I thought the notion staggering cost really captured it. The only problem with all the numbers are wrong because they're all increasing so fast. So here it's showing 34 million with type 2 diabetes in the US. It's already 38 million. It says 88 million with pre-diabetes. It's already 98 million, so more than 1 in 3 adults. And with over 50 pharmacologics out there in use, including the new ones, most patients are not well managed. And of course, you have the host of complications, side effects. So true epidemic, enormous spending, and not really changing the underlying course of the disease. Okay, so what are we doing at Aqua? So our goal is to change the course of the disease, and part of that, minimize and potentially eliminate injectables in certain cohorts of patients. And we have a device-based approach to this. It's a 30-minute outpatient procedure, and we use hot water vapor ablation in the GI tract. And here's what it looks like. It's a garden variety upper endoscopy procedure. So here's an endoscope, goes through the esophagus, through the stomach, and you enters this 10-inch or so section called duodenum or duodenum, and you can see our blue catheter exiting the scope. And what we do is we deploy these two self-expanding discs, and they create a neat little treatment chamber, and from the center shaft of that chamber, we precisely dose hot water vapor. And water vapor is the perfect ablation agent because it has high energy, it can get uniform coverage into the irregularities, and then it ablates to a nice controlled depth into the mucosa and produces what we call the box effect. Okay, so a question comes up here, how does this treat type 2 diabetes? And the answer is, it's actually not surprising at all because there's decades of experience with bariatric surgical procedures for obesity, so like gastric bypass and Roux-en-Y, which have in common that they exclude the duodenum. So in those procedures, patients lose weight over weeks and months, but almost immediately type 2 diabetes is resolved, even the next day. So then a company had actually a clever idea. They said, well, if that's the key, what if we make a tube or sleeve that covers the duodenum, fix it to the lower stomach, the food will bypass. And they did, and actually they showed similar results, that over weeks and months, the patients lost weight and almost immediate dramatic improvement in diabetes. Now, the company had a problem keeping the device in place, but that's not funny. But notwithstanding, they validated the principle. And in the meantime, so a number of companies have pursued endoscopic approaches to ablate the duodenum with some really impressive results. Now here's an extract from one of the studies from one company. You can see impressive reduction in hemoglobin A1C, but even more impressive, you're seeing durability out to 24 months, which I think is quite impressive. Now, look at the product on the left. You see there's a big endoscope and there's a large catheter bigger than the endoscope. So picture the physician. He has to navigate 2 devices through the patient's mouth all the way through to the duodenum to perform that. It's cumbersome, it's time consuming, it's really a super expert's task. Okay, so that's a constrained market. If you look at ours, you saw how easy it is. Right through the scope, pretty much any GI endoscopist can perform our procedure. And so that makes it, enormously expands the potential for commercialization. By the way, this company has IPO'd. They've raised over $400 million. We've gotten to this point with less than $20 million. So the big news for us is we've completed a 27-patient clinical trial. And of course, when you do a first-in-human, everybody in the hospital shows up and wants to see what's going on. But the results have been fantastic. So first, this is patient fingerstick glucose. So the blue is basically the run-in period. So before the procedure, the patients are doing their finger sticks every day, and that's their glucose level. So you see some trend, but then we do the procedure, and immediate dramatic improvement reduction in glucose. But the gold standard for diabetes is really hemoglobin A1C. So if you look at this chart, you can see the run-in period. So that's, again, the month prior to the procedure, relatively flat. And you see a super acute improvement in the hemoglobin A1C. We've actually, at 3 months, reduced it down 1.5 points as the mean. Now, if we compare to others that are out there, you can see we're the blue bars. We have a much more acute improvement, reduction in hemoglobin A1C. And at the same point in time, at 3 months, we're showing superiority. So we're thrilled with these results, of course. And Now these are principal investigators. So these are top key opinion leaders. They are familiar with bariatrics, metabolics, endoscopic approaches, surgical approaches, and been involved in the study and all the results. And here's just a subset of some of the comments they had afterwards. Game changer. Really, really impressive. Incredibly easy to use. But the big one, the punchline here is the last one. You have a 20-minute procedure here, where the others you're talking minimum hours, several hours. What that does, that puts it into ASCs, which is the profit zone for GI physicians. So this is a big commercialization opportunity. Now, if we look at all the advantages we have to the others, so first, procedure time, usability, learning curve, no one is in the same universe as us because they're double devices. Okay, if you look at fluoroscopy, well, because of the complexity of the others with 2 devices, they need X-ray, and we do not need it. And actually, it is a constraint because only certain endosuites have fluoroscopy capability. Anesthesia, we're conscious sedation. It's a normal GI procedure, propofol. They need general sedation because, again, the complexity, the guide wire, the other catheters. We have a cost of goods advantage, and we safety, tolerability, no SAEs in the study, and pain scores close to 0. Outcomes I put equivalent, but it looks like we may have an advantage there too. So, and also let me tell you about the regulatory. We're pretty happy about this regulatory. As a company, we already have 3 510Ks cleared. Now we don't have a diabetes specific indication yet, but that red box allows us to ablate as an ablation tool anywhere throughout the GI tract. So that means that any doctor in the US can ablate the duodenum, and then we can fast track into a diabetes indication. So we're happy about this. And finally, we think we have a great team. This is Greg Barrett. He created the ablation market for the esophagus, Barrx Medical, and Barrx was basically sold. He sold it to Covidien for $425 million. He's done a lot of deals. We work together every week. He's our chairman. And this, you guys may know Bill Starling. He's kind of a legend. I tried to put his resume on one page, but it's impossible. I put his IPOs on one page. And it's funny because the companies he started and the products are selling over $4 billion out there. So great, wonderful guy to work with. Just real pleasure to be on their board. This is the late Pete Nicholas. He founded Boston Scientific. He invested in us from the beginning in every round. And to show you how noble this guy was, he actually passed the baton. Before he passed the baton to his son, Ithaca Partners, and they continue to fund us all the way through. But amazing, we're so blessed to have him be a part of Aqua all the way through. And you probably know William Dai Shangbei. I think they're rated like the 4 years in a row, like the most active venture capital fund. So he's a great partner with us. And VK Sharma, he's our chief medical officer. He's ex-Mayo Clinic director and serial entrepreneur. And you can see that I've been around the block here before. And so we're raising a 15 million Series B. And if this fits in the thesis of anyone's fund, we are always happy to talk about money. Thanks.